Did you miss the sound of my sweet voice? On est de retour, mesdames et messieurs. J'ai été malade au cours de la dernière fin de semaine. C'est la raison pourquoi il n'y a pas eu de VIICTIIMINUTE. Je m'en excuse. Au moins, c'est pas le COVID. Fait que that's something positive. Anyway, bienvenue à la VIICTIIMINUTE du 8 décembre 2020. En manchette aujourd'hui, on parle de Cyberpunk 2077. Les critiques sont sorties pour le jeu hier. Donc, on fait un petit round-up des critiques positives ainsi que des critiques négatives concernant le jeu de CD Projekt Red qui sort dans quelques jours, dans moins de 48 heures, at the time of this recording. Également, un autre jeu moins hype, mais qu'on fait un review round-up pour ça. C'est Call of the Sea qui est disponible dès aujourd'hui sur Game Pass. Également, dans l'autre nouvelle, on parle du delay de Prince of Persia Remake, like anyone cares about that, ainsi que des nouvelles qui ont été parues la semaine dernière que j'ai pas pu couvrir parce que j'étais encore une fois malade. Donc, Casey Hudson et un autre higher-up de chez BioWare qui quitte le studio. Le deal entre Warner Brothers ainsi que HBO Max qui va amener plein de films qui étaient censés, qui sont censés sortir en 2021, autant au cinéma que sur le service de streaming d'HBO. Fait que c'est cool, on va avoir des films pour 2021. Puis yeah, that's pretty much it in the headlines. Encore une fois, je m'excuse d'avoir été inconsistent. J'y vais avec le fil de mon corps. I'm a one-man operation. Fait que j'essaie le plus possible de vous en donner, malgré le fait que justement des fois il faut que je prenne un break à cause que je suis malade. Encore une fois, une chance que c'est pas le COVID. Fait qu'on get back to it cette semaine. C'est quand même une grosse semaine parce que c'est les Game Awards qui vont avoir lieu ce jeudi. Pour ma part, je ne les écouterai pas en live, mais vous pouvez vous attendre à de la couverture de tout cet événement-là le vendredi suivant l'événement, donc le lendemain. Fait que stay tuned à la VIICTIIMINUTE le vendredi pour mes impressions sur les gagnants, puis tout ce qui est announcements, reveal, trailers, and what have you par rapport aux Game Awards 2020. Puis parlant d'awards, si vous n'avez pas encore voté pour les Major Key Awards, please do so. Il reste 2 semaines pour voter. Lots of big stuff lined up. En fait, plus de 200 personnes différentes ont registered leur vote pour l'événement. Let's make that bigger. Si on est capable de reach 300, ça serait insane. Anyway, déjà là, l'édition 2020 du Award Show que j'organise, c'est le biggest ever. Fait que hopefully, je vais être capable de live up to the hype. Mais yeah, fait que that's pretty much it. Let's get back to it, man. Lots of stuff to cover. Actualité. The ball is in Sony's court. Just fucking announce the stuff, please. Critique. En tout cas, le user score sur Metacritic est à 2.6. Rumeur. I don't know. I'm just sharing this on the internet. Discussion. C'est pas n'importe quel jeu là, c'est fucking Halo, ok? Réaction. Nintendo, what the fuck are you doing? La VIICTIIMINUTE avec Victim. En manchette pour la VIICTIIMINUTE du 8 décembre 2020, Cyberpunk is delayed. C'est pas vrai. C'est pas vrai. Cyberpunk, les critiques sont officiellement sorties hier, dans les alentours de midi, je pense. Présentement, un Metascore, Metacritic Max, who cares? Bref, Metacritic, ça compile tout. Shut up, Alexis. Yes, Prince of Persia. J'ai hésité à le mettre au début comme main article de la manchette. Finalement, je me suis dit, people care. What do people care most about? C'est Cyberpunk cette semaine. Fait que Cyberpunk va prendre le headline pour aujourd'hui. Donc, Cyberpunk a un Metascore de 91 présentement. À 2 jours de sa sortie, pretty much toutes les major outlets ont sorti leurs critiques hier. Par exemple, comme qu'on l'avait prédit sur ce Very Talk Show, c'est un peu divisive, malgré le fait qu'il y a quand même un haut overall score dans ce qui concerne les critiques. Obviously, il y a du monde qui l'ont pas aimé. Mais le key takeaway de tout ça, c'est que je pense que même si le jeu il est excellent dans son département, c'est pas la révolution auquel tout le monde s'attendait. C'est pas mal ça que j'ai vu de toutes les critiques que j'ai lues en diagonale hier. C'est que oui, que le jeu est bon. Oui, le jeu est un great RPG, puis l'impact de tes choix affecte comme plusieurs sphères du jeu. Mais ça reste que c'est rien de out of this world, puis rien de tant nouveau en termes de comme groundbreaking game design or whatever. Le monde chiale and what's new. Yeah, that's the internet. Mais pas juste ça, il y a quand même d'autres affaires que je vais en venir avec Cyberpunk. Comme pratiquement toutes les tabs du début là, concernent Cyberpunk. Donc, j'ai deux critiques qu'on va regarder ensemble. Celle de IGN qui a donné un 9 sur 10, puis celle de notre boy Jeff Grubb qui a donné un 3 sur 5. Parce qu'eux, ils fonctionnent avec un out of 5 system. Fait qu'on va avoir two sides de Cyberpunk. Puis on en discutera par la suite. Moi, je vais y aller de l'avant là, pour que le bias de Cyberpunk soit comme tassé, mis de côté. Full disclosure, I don't give two shits about Cyberpunk. La seule raison pourquoi j'étais hype pour Cyberpunk, c'est parce que le jeu était tellement hypé, puis toute l'histoire, toute le narrative alentour de ce jeu-là faisait en sorte que, ouh, genre, people were excited, mais comme avoir le jeu, je m'en fous. J'ai aucun désir d'y jouer. Y jouerez de votre côté, vous me direz ce que vous en pensez. Donc, yeah, IGN Reviews. C'est Tom Marks qui a fait le review, qui est la personne qui a également fait la couverture des previews de Cyberpunk. Fait que, I guess he knows what he's talking about. Les femmes aiment ça, l'investissement. Sans commentaire. Très hit or miss pour moi les RPG super swag. Bienvenue sur le stream, by the way. C'est...
CD Projekt Red wouldn't allow us to use our own recorded gameplay for this.
Yeah, that is fucked up, ok? CD Projekt Red, apparemment, j'ai eu mon tweet par rapport à ça. Skill up, ok? Il y a un tweet about it justement hier. CD Projekt Red n'ont pas autorisé aux reviewers d'utiliser leur propre footage pour leur couverture de Cyberpunk, ce qui est vraiment weird, ok? J'ai aucune idée. Mon first thought par rapport à ça, c'était comme, ok, le jeu est clairement buggé. Le Day One patch est pas encore disponible, puis CD Projekt Red veut pas que ce footage-là soit mis dans les internets, puis que le monde fasse des compilations de tous les bugs qui sont survenus avec leur temps avec Cyberpunk. Mais quand même, genre, it's weird. Fait que Skill Up, qui a justement donné un negative review à c'était The Last of Us Part 2. Je me rappelle de son style logo. How fucking wrong he was. It will not have finished Cyberpunk, but I will not have a review up today as I could not comply with CD Projekt Red's embargo requirement that prohibited us from using our own recorded gameplay in the review. Instead, we were told to use B-roll, which is basically trailer footage. Reviews should not be vehicles for rolling out more marketing materials, so I'll put my review up when I'm able to show you the reality of the game with my own footage. I'm also disappointed that no console review code was provided to any outlets. Console games are often reviewed without their day one or even day zero patches, so Cyberpunk would not have been special in this regard. It's really lame that no reviewer can tell you how this game runs on console on the review embargo. I absolutely love this game and I think CD Projekt Red did extraordinary work, but it's clearly unfinished at this point and no review relying on trailer footage alone can properly convey that. Et encore une fois, c'est un autre case d'un big AAA qui est un peu limité par les review embargoes. Je sais pas si vous vous souvenez, mais avec The Last of Us Part 2, il y avait également un weird genre embargo, genre requirements, où est-ce qu'ils pouvaient pas montrer de footage avec Abby. Fait qu'ils pouvaient pas montrer aucun footage de la deuxième partie du jeu. Qui est essentiellement one of the big parts, mais on s'entend que c'est quand même spoilery in some way. Mais quand même, tu sais, c'est. Anyway, back to the review.
This review. So unlike a typical IGN review, what you're going to see while I talk about Cyberpunk 2077 isn't entirely representative of what I experienced when I played.
Effectivement.
But that restriction is only temporary, so when it comes out, we'll publish a new version of this review with our own footage to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Also, keep in mind that we haven't gotten to touch the PlayStation or Xbox versions yet.
It's a video game. It's
Here
never
is specifically
finished.
the PC version of Cyberpunk 2077.
T'écouteras la vidéo
which I
de
played
Scott
on a
Dawes
GeForce RTX
là-dessus.
3080 GPU.
Il résume
And
bien.
now, on to the review. The quality of an
Genre,
open
un
world
jeu pourrait être
RPG
delayed
often
à
isn't
l'infini.
defined by the strength of its main story, but the side missions around it. With Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red has built an entire game around that philosophy. Apart from its surprisingly short but utterly compelling central questline, the vast majority of what you can do in Night City is entirely optional, but still extremely impactful. This more free-form structure isn't without its faults, including loads of distracting bugs, but the strength of the missions
distracting, you
themselves and
say.
the broad and interesting choices you have within them make Cyberpunk 2077 one of the most exciting RPGs I've played in recent years.
Damn, ils ont vraiment mis le paquet pour le review, Jesus Christ.
You play as V,
Kudos.
a mercenary in Night City who ends up with the psyche of long-dead rock star and anti-corporate terrorist Johnny Silverhand trapped in their head. Yes, that's Keanu Reeves, though his performance is actually a bit stiff relative to the rest of the excellent cast.
Damn, really?
Whatever it takes to stop him, defeat him, gut him. If I gotta kill, I'll kill.
C'est vrai
But
qu'il
Johnny's
sounds weird.
confrontational relationship with V is wonderfully tense, acting as the anchor of the whole story. Cyberpunk 2077's opening hours do an incredible job of getting you invested in their struggle, and then Night City's sprawling map opens wide. If most game structures look like a redwood tree with a tall trunk that has paths branching off as you go higher, Cyberpunk 2077 is more like a large bush. You don't have to go far to have dozens of tangled branches within reach. Night City is so dense,
Ah ouais, t'es hype,
diverse, and
Alex.
consistently beautiful that there are opportunities to stumble upon unexpected sights and missions all
Je
the time.
RP mon
The
personnage.
scope is simply stunning, from the massive
Genre, ça crée un genre de
skyscrapers to the
Persona, maybe,
immaculately
yeah.
detailed in-world advertisements that are plastered all over them. Cyberpunk 2077 feels like an RPG through and through. It's full of rich, beautifully presented
Ouais.
conversations and an almost mind-boggling
Son
amount
vidéo,
of
son
choice
dernier vidéo,
in
t'es vraiment, il est
dialogue,
fucking
character
good.
builds, mission approach, and beyond. What's more, those choices can have a massive impact on both V's own story and the characters around them. I once made a suggestion to a character that later lost him his job. That decision altered every future interaction, and knowing that someone else might have a very different relationship with him made my playthrough feel more personal.
C'est ça qui est
Similarly,
insane
I
à
was
penser de
shocked to
Cyberpunk.
discover one of my favorite
Genre,
missions
un
early
choix peut
on
comme
wasn't
changer
even offered to
everything.
another player because of a single decision we made differently.
Uh-huh.
Realizations like this quickly became a common occurrence. The missions themselves are also largely delightful. My favorites range from infiltrating an extravagant parade to a series of detective missions where you actually need to collect evidence on your own, to a deeply touching scuba diving mission,
What the fuck, tu vas
all
aller
the way
en
to
silo?
befriending a sentient vending machine. The fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is able to have deep, affecting moments alongside lighthearted goofs and blaring sex ads without any of it feeling out of place is a testament to the strength of both its stories and the world they take place in. And remember, just because something is a side mission doesn't mean it's not important to the main story. Surprisingly, Cyberpunk 2077 only took me around 20 hours to beat the first time, but it was only after
Really?
reloading a save and spending another 20 hours completing
Fait
side
que
missions
20
and befriending
heures.
characters
Tu
that I
fais
went
juste la
back
main
to finish
story,
the
I
story
guess?
again and found my ending options had drastically changed. After 45 hours, I've now found 6 wildly different endings and still have plenty more I want to do.
Yeah, 20
While
heures,
this freeform
c'est.
structure is impressive,
Ben-
it did create a false sense that I was
Pour un RPG, 20 heures. Mais c'est ça l'affaire. Peu importe comment tu joues à ton RPG, là. Moi, là, les RPG, là, de un RPG, c'est déjà hit or miss pour moi. Mais là, quand tu me dis que le jeu il dure genre 90 heures comme un Persona 5, tu me perds déjà. J'ai même pas mis le jeu dans ma console, esti, j'ai même pas ouvert le jeu sur Steam. I'm already done. C'est 20 heures, tu découvres le monde, tu t'investis dans ton personnage. C'est fine. Give 20 good hours. Exactement, Puppet. Ça, c'est une bonne façon de l'expliquer. C'est quoi? C'est genre, je préfère avoir 4,25 cents que 100, une scène, là, whatever the fuck l'expression c'est. C'est un peu ce minding-là. Là. I mean, people complain, mais Skyrim, si tu rushes la story, c'est 20 heures-ish too. Ou genre Valhalla, 130 heures. Je me rappelle dans 2000 quand on était good avec 8 heures. Yeah, gamers are so entitled.
3 percentages relating to different aspects of V's journey are presented like progress trackers in the menu, but they don't actually function that way, making them frustratingly misleading.
Ouais, ça, les jeux vont être 60 heures, personne va y finir.
The openness of Cyberpunk 2077 is pretty remarkable. Beyond the big story decisions, you also get the good old-fashioned choice of how to kill or politely incapacitate your enemies. There are no character classes here.
Ça, par exemple, c'est le genre, c'est l'affaire qui m'intéresse le plus dans le jeu. Le genre de Deus Ex kind of gameplay.
Make enemies slower to detect you, and its stealth perk page is full of additional boons like increased
Là, ça va, c'est environ 24 heures.
an aerial takedown. Perks will also naturally improve as you use them,
tout dans
making the
stealth.
system wonderfully flexible. Combat opens up gradually as well. While I didn't love the gunplay initially, I eventually found unique weaponry and clever cybernetic augmentations that elevated it above simple pointing and shooting. Some guns can charge up and shoot through walls, while others fire bullets that seek out enemies.
Ouais, Alexis, comme yo, Spider-Man, c'est l'exemple parfait d'un jeu qui est pas full price, qui dure... Si tu fais juste les story missions, ça dure quoi? 6-8 heures. Après ça, t'as plein de side activities. Je veux replonger dans Spider-Man down the road.
She looks. Add in cyberware that lets you slow time, double jump, and more, and
it's just a matter of time before you find some custom combination that clicks. Get used to
it never
that.
becomes the most complex dance, especially with stuff like the fairly mashy melee options.
What's up, Kefren?
It's one that I felt I had complete control over choreographing. Of course, my V's policy was always to try sneaking before going loud. Similar to combat, stealth isn't much deeper than crouch walking out of sight, but planning my route and using quick hacks to do things like blind guards can be an engaging and fun puzzle. Like in a Deus Ex game, I was able to complete some missions without ever drawing a weapon, which is rewarding in a different way than cutting off someone's head with mantis blades. When things do get loud, though, a special commendation needs to be given to Cyberpunk 2077's music. The soundtrack is fantastic throughout, but the combat music stands out, driving the pace of fights directly.
Uh-oh, bugs in the system.
So we have to talk bugs now. I've only been able to play the PC version so far, but even so, the frequency of bugs was a frustrating nuisance. It's nothing game-breaking, but hardly an hour has gone by without something going awry, and performance is only okay even with very high-end hardware. That makes me especially worried for what last-gen console versions might be like. And remember, we unfortunately can't show footage of any of these issues yet due to CD Projekt Red's pre-release restrictions. For now, you'll have to take my word for it when I say that I've had important conversations undermined by characters glitching between incorrect poses or referencing invisible objects. I frequently get calls overlapping with other conversations, and had to sit through drives with my character bobbing like I was in a run animation. During the few story moments when I did get to see my own character model, I was usually missing my customized hair. And while I primarily had visual issues, I did have to reload a save a couple of times when mission progress was halted. None of this stopped me from loving the stories being told, but they did dampen moments that otherwise would have been powerful. A Day 1 patch is expected, as well as likely many others after that, but CDPR has indicated it will focus on stability and performance, which isn't what gave me the most trouble. To be fair, its exceptional support of The Witcher 3 gives me faith that a lot of these issues could be sorted out with enough time. But right now, it can be a bit of a mess. In a way, I'm sort of jealous of people who first play Cyberpunk 2077 6 months from now, when I assume a lot of this has been fixed.
Yeah, c'est sûr. Est-ce que ça va être on the level de genre Fallout 76?
Cyberpunk 2077 kicks you into its dazzlingly dense cityscape with few restrictions. It offers a staggering amount of choice, and your decisions can have a tangible impact on both the world and people around you. Those stories can be emotional, funny, dark, exciting, and sometimes all of those things at once.
En autant que c'est
The
pas
main
Fallout
quest may be shorter
76,
than
là,
expected when taken on its own,
people are
but
gonna
the
be...
multitude of optional missions available can have
Ben,
a
c'est sûr qu'il y en a qui vont
surprisingly
bitcher, là.
powerful effect on where V and Johnny's story ends up. It's a shame that frustratingly frequent bugs can occasionally kill an otherwise well-set mood.
C'est
but
ça l'affaire,
Cyberpunk
c'est le mot qu'il
2077's
emploie. Frustratingly frequent bugs, man. On a donné un 9 out of 10
flexible
pareil.
design makes it a truly remarkable RPG. For more Cyberpunk 2077, be sure to read my full written review on IGN.com, or watch our breakdown of the Cyberpunk world's story leading up to it. And for everything else, keep it right here on IGN.
Les bugs, s'il y a parlé, il n'y a rien de nouveau là-dedans. Non, c'est sûr, c'est comme chaque jeu est buggé, mais comme. L'affaire qui arrive avec Cyberpunk, c'est un jeu qui a été delayed 4 fois. Qui a un development cycle de quoi, 7 ans, même peut-être plus. Si tu penses au pre-production, ou si tu inclus le pre-production dans tout ça. Fait que c'est un peu comme genre une déception le fait qu'il y a autant de bugs là. Comment là, ça fait 4 fois que tu repousses et tu le shoot fucking crappy au reviewer. Mais c'est ça qui est décevant. Mais tu sais, who knows tout ce qui s'est passé dans le development cycle de ce jeu-là, outre what we heard. I'm telling you, they gotta make a documentary on the development of Cyberpunk at CD Projekt Red. Fait que ça, c'est une critique plutôt positive d'IGN. Comme vous avez pu voir, il y en a un 9 sur 10. J'ai une critique un peu plus... pas négative, mais un peu plus... comment dire? Pas réservé. Safe. I don't know. Jeff Grubb de Venture Beat. Lui a donné un... Wait for it. Il a donné 3 losanges sur 5. Fait que let's see what he had to say dans sa critique vidéo.
It's the internet, you're busy, let's do this. I'm Jeff Grubb. I write for GamesBeat.com. Cyberpunk 2077. It's out December 10th. I've played it. I think it's a good game. I am on the fence about whether or not it's a great game, and I want to talk about that with you right now.
Hey, nice le chandail.
So let's do that. Cyberpunk 2077 is a promise. It is a different promise to different people. And for many, it's a blockbuster sci-fi follow-up to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And it's going to do everything that game did, but bigger. For me, it was the promise of the next generation of interactivity and simulation and choice.
Le jeu
and,
est trop
and the effects that
ambitieux.
you could have on a game world.
Selon moi.
And now that I've played it myself, I think that developer CD Projekt Red delivered on the AAA thrill ride with great quests and great characters in a thrilling setting. That much it did. But it isn't much more than that, and so that's where I personally am wondering, is it a great game? In Cyberpunk 2077, you control the character V, who lives in Night City and is looking to make a couple of big scores to enter the upper echelon of the criminal underworld. What Cyberpunk really is, though, however, is a big open world action role-playing game. What it's not is a look at gaming's future. Instead, it feels like a summation of where we come in gaming since the Xbox 360 generation.
I mean, le jeu il est en développement depuis crissement longtemps. T'sais, ils ont pas changé l'idée de base midway through it. Là. Fait que le concept reste le même since day one. Fait comme juste, on dirait que c'est ça que je dis encore une fois, c'est que le jeu a tellement été hypé parce que c'était CD Projekt Red. Yada, c'est leur prochain jeu après The Witcher, qu'on s'attendait à comme comme Max Nevralgic qui dit, le second coming of Jesus Christ, puis finalement c'est pas le cas, you know? Un studio qui prend ce risque, on verra dans les prochaines semaines si le risque valait la peine. Je pense qu'au final c'est juste bon pour l'industrie et on s'en fout que ce soit pas un Game of the Year. Non, c'est sûr, Sam Bro, je dis pas le contraire, c'est juste que comme people have been waiting for this game for fucking forever, là. Genre, je pense à Mike, là. Mike, lui, il s'attend à comme le jeu qui va changer sa vie, esti. It's probably not gonna be that. Mais on s'est créé un fucking hype trop immense à propos d'un simple jeu. True.
It feels like a game built by people looking around to see what works, like Grand Theft Auto's open worlds, Watch Dogs hacking, Assassin's Creed's quest-filled maps. Fallout's combat and character progression, Mass Effect's dialogue system, Batman Arkham Knight's crime scene investigations, and every game's skill trees. At the same time, Cyberpunk doesn't try much new. It feels big and expensive, and getting all of these parts to fit together seems like an impossible challenge. But because of this, Cyberpunk 2077 is a glimpse at where we are.
C'est exactement ça. Ça, là, c'est le phénomène of the internet. OK? C'est que la personne va rien dire, mais l'internet se bâtit des idées sur des faux concepts qui font en sorte que le monde pense que justement c'est le second coming of Jesus Christ quand c'est. I mean, it looks like a good RPG. It looks like a good open world avec des personnages intéressants, des quests intéressantes. Mais comme de là à dire que c'est une révolution dans l'industrie du jeu vidéo, c'est peut-être un peu too much.
And not at what is next. I will be surprised if in 5 to 7 years we are playing a game and we say, oh, they took this from Cyberpunk.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? C'est vrai, c'est l'autre-là comme fille.
But you don't have to do a bunch of new stuff to make a good game.
Sensei Kush,
innovation is great, but it's not necessarily
hey, what's up,
what
Dad?
makes spending $60 to $70 on a video game feel good.
In my bed.
And if you're coming here for the quests and the characters, CD Projekt Red delivered. So playing this game before most of the world is an odd position to be in because I am torn due to two questions. Is the game good, and does it live up to expectations? And I think when it comes to characters and quests, the answer to both those questions is yes. I don't think it should surprise anyone that the studio that made The Witcher 3 made another game with great quests. It's arguably what the studio is best at, and that holds true for Cyberpunk. And yes, the visuals and ray tracing are really stunning, and the world building is impressive. But Cyberpunk is at its best when you're putting together the plans for a big job with a cool cast of characters. The game still has a small bag of verbs that it relies on for these quests. You're primarily shooting or sneaking, a few other things here and there. But CD Projekt Red keeps things fresh by breaking each quest up into stages of missions that naturally build on one another and also reveal more about the world. These are massive strengths of the game. One quest that I liked in particular started with me trying to track down an engineer for important story reasons. That led me to one of the city's main fixers, who are people who put together jobs for like the criminal underworld and also are all used car salesmen, strangely. Details on the information that I needed until I paid her. So that gave me a chance to try to collect some money by doing side jobs and gigs, which is a big part of like the quest log that you're gonna get. And I had a bunch sitting there, and so this was like, oh, my opportunity to go out there and engage with that stuff. So already starting off on like Mario Bros, after I was able to put together the scratch, however, she pointed me as well as a character named Pan Am. This is one of the games like Nomads. These are people who live outside the city, and I was playing as a street kid. So immediately I started dealing with a side of the world that I hadn't seen before, and it was fascinating to kind of get whipped around on this whirlwind tour of a side of Night City I hadn't seen before. The missions that me and Pan Am went on through our like this quest line, it involved us setting up a trap for a gang in an abandoned ghost town. She also took me to an underground tunnel where we had another fight. And then she took me to like this motel in the California desert where we laid out a plan to help like get that engineer I needed back. And that's how the game goes. You talk with characters, you come up with some plans, and then you execute them. And that loop kept pulling me in because you always end up somewhere cool. And Night City is very cool. But you're definitely on the cyberpunk roller coaster, as I would call it. The way you interact with the city and quests is pretty much what you expect. Stealth past enemies or shoot them. If you have hacking skills, you can use those. If you're physically strong, you could take more damage and rush at people with a katana. But don't expect that you'll be able to go much deeper than that. This is not a game where you try to talk your way out of fights. You're not going to follow a guard home, interrogate him, steal his uniform, and then infiltrate a facility using that information. At least not unless the game built that into the quest. So despite how alive the city feels due to its mind-blowing ray-traced lighting, it's still sterile.
Mind-blowing.
Things don't just happen in Night City. At its heart, Cyberpunk 2077 is a map game. You choose a quest off the menu and then go and do whatever that developer designed for you. This philosophy filters down into the world itself and how interactive it really is. You'll find pachinko machines in arcade games, but you can't play them. You can scan people to reveal information about them, but I never found a use for that. If you want to have sex, there's 2 sex workers right there on your map. You could see them on the mini map, walk to them, say,
Nice.
hey, here's some money. They'll take you to their apartment. You'll see a cutscene. You'll come back to the game, right where you talk to them. You'll find empty seats throughout Night City. But
Mais c'est ça, tu sais, c'est rien. Tu sais, il aurait pu avoir un minigame où tu fourres la sex worker ou whatever, genre. Mais comme là, c'est juste une cutscene, pis ça finit là, tu reviens où est-ce que t'es, tu sais. C'est rien de. Tu sais, je dis pas que ça aurait été révolutionnaire s'il y avait des minigames de sexe dans le jeu, mais comme si le jeu avait été des extra steps pour des genres de petites affaires dans même, là, on aurait pu parler de revolution in video games.
Certain seats at certain time when the game permits. And if the game wants, you could sit back and drink a beer with a friend and have a great conversation. This is not something that you can initiate on your own. It's only when the game allows. All of this hampers the potential for emergent storytelling. You aren't going to stumble off the main quest line and into a series of unpredictable moments. It's just not that type of game. Instead, CD Projekt Red is the one prescribing all of the action.
Il y a déjà une collab, il y a déjà
those quests are usually pretty fun, but the game doesn't end up feeling like a real role-playing game that responds to your decisions.
On en avait parlé on stream.
And on that point of feeling like an RPG, the character progression is also undercooked. I feel a vague desire to upgrade my character to improve my strength in combat or to open a door I otherwise couldn't. But that's about it. The game never puts me into situations where I imagine new ways I'll interact with the world as I get new capabilities. Sure, my character is a tank who is good with blades, and that's different from how your character is probably going to work, but we're probably both going to sneak through stealth sections, shoot our way through battle sequences, and do whatever the companion characters need us to do to keep the game moving forward. Let's talk about how the world is beautiful and buggy. If CD Projekt Red's core competency is writing quests, world building is a complementary pillar of the studio's works. Cyberpunk 2077 is more evidence of that. Night City is beautiful and ugly in all the ways a megacity should be. Every time you turn a corner, the game reveals another startling angle of the urban environment, and it makes Night City feel menacing and inescapable, and the visual fidelity and art both contribute to this sensation. The streets are packed with people and vehicles, giant colorful holographic advertisements shoot into the sky, neon lighting alerts you to restaurants and sex shops. And speaking of lighting, this is by far the best showcase for ray tracing so far, period. With an NVIDIA RTX 3080 video card and using deep learning super sampling, I was able to run the game at 1440p with RTX maxed out. This includes well-known RTX features like shadows and reflections, which look great, but also includes RTX global illumination.
Ça, c'est toutes les
CD Projekt Red uses a
Astro's
hybrid
Playroom
GI system that doesn't use RTX for like when light bounces off of other objects, but any and all direct lighting, I think, is happening with ray tracing,
Bloodshot out of his mind.
A huge difference. The difference between Cyberpunk 2077 with RTX lighting on is a lifelike game with lighting that brings depth and characters, and to like, especially to like characters in their clothing, and you see self shadows on like the collar, on the neck, and the way the lighting scatters across like a curved face is super realistic. And then without RTX, it looks like a video game. And it's just, this is the promise of RTX that we've heard for 2 years now, finally sort of coming to fruition. And then thanks to DLSS 2.0's, performance setting, I was able to run everything maxed out
power
and still get
supply
60 frames per second at 1440p. It's very impressive, and I don't want to play it any other way. It is too beautiful with ray tracing to turn it off and try to get 120 frames per second. I'm not interested in that in this game because the ray tracing is so important to the look. But the game is also undeniably buggy. I have a high tolerance for the occasional funny glitch. I also have high expectations for games where I don't want to let them off the hook for a lot of stuff, especially if they're making big promises. But it's almost too high for me to expect that a game with such an open, complex world is going to behave at all times.
True.
So I have a high tolerance. And yet I saw quite a few bugs with, you know, characters standing out of the top of the car while they're driving, so you know their bodies in the hood.
Ça
I
doit être
saw
drôle à
floating
voir.
objects. I saw vehicles disappear. I couldn't get the context sensitive stealth takedown button to work in one section, just because I think I dropped down and so it wouldn't activate. I also couldn't get the list to sort properly. So if I had a bunch of weapons and I wanted to sort by damage per second, I would try. There was an option right there to sort it that way. Nothing would change. Nothing would happen. So what happens is that when you have so many bugs like this, it
200
begins to compromise
pesos.
your faith in the world. If I expect something to happen and it doesn't, I begin to think, was I just like wrong about how this world would react, or did a bug prevent that thing from happening that was pretty obvious?
Il y en a une.
That's
3080,
where
mais elle vendra
Cyberpunk
pas.
2077 is at as it launches. It's going to be a game that maybe you might have some problems with in terms of believing that it's always going to work for you. I haven't had any like full crashes or anything like that, but I don't think that's also out of the realm of possibility. Where I come down on Cyberpunk 2077 is that it suggests this wide open world of possibilities, but that is just a suggestion. And I think that Cyberpunk 2077 delivers the big budget game thrills that many people are going to come to this game for. But it falls short in a few key areas for me. And a lot of that comes as a byproduct of its ambition. The problem is that the world of Cyberpunk 2077
Like I said,
suggests those possibilities.
trop
The mega
ambitieux
buildings
à
that make
rien.
up the city's skylines suggest vast interior spaces that don't really exist. Merchants with a finite number of euro dollars, like in their pockets, like you go up to do business with them, and you could see like they only have so much money. And it's like, oh man, does this game have a simulated economy where if I move stuff around in one part of the city, things will change? That isn't in the game, not really. The bustling streets suggest the potential for emergent story moments that don't really happen. And of course, no game has all of those things on top of everything that Cyberpunk does offer. But the point is that Cyberpunk 2077 is so ambitious that you do expect more from it. And when something is missing, it hurts the
Mais
hurts the entire
personne,
experience.
c'est ça l'affaire, c'est que personne a dit qu'on doit s'attendre à plus que le jeu est depuis le début. Where the fuck did that came from? Ça vient de l'internet, mesdames et messieurs. L'internet a créé cette fucking hype-là.
That much more. It's like a good example of this. There's a food vendor that hangs outside V's apartment in his part of Night City. And this food vendor's stall, it looks really attractive. It looks like something out of Blade Runner. You know, you have the steam rising off the food, and there's the nice lighting.
Chevalier
If
Blanc.
I was in Los Angeles walking down the street and I saw that and I was hungry, I would love to just stop there, sit there, and eat. But that's all it is. It's just set dressing. It's just there to look at. You cannot interact with it. You can't talk. You can't even talk to the vendor. There's nothing. There's no dialogue. He won't even acknowledge you if you walk up to him. You know what? Now it's just occurring to me. Maybe that's a bug. I don't know. That's the point. That's the point. That's the problem with the bugs. Is that could be a glitch, and I just don't know.
Ça, c'est caf,
and maybe
par
that's what's
exemple.
preventing me from talking to that vendor. But this sort of thing happens a lot where you see something happening, and it's
Review
really just
come,
there
wait,
to suggest
is that a bug?
there's something more
Peux-tu
happening
interagir
under
avec
the
ça?
surface.
Finalement, non.
And if you try to go scratch at that, instead of staying on the main quest line, you're going to find that most of the time there's not much else going on there. It's just there to look like that bustling world and not to ensnare you in that bustling world. It's not there to bring you in, and I just slammed my keyboard, but we're finishing up, so let's just get through this. It's not there to wrap you into some emergent quest line that you're going to discover all on your own. It's no, you're still going to go to your job menu or to the map, pick something, go do that, and just stay on the roller coaster that they built for you. And that's fine. It's okay to make a game like that. It's even in 2020 when we're beginning to expect more as we're getting next generation consoles. It's fine, but I do think that it's a deep disappointment to me that the world, this world that does look great and acts as great set dressing when you're going from one waypoint to another during a mission, is sort of just there as set dressing, and it's just and all these things just exist to add flavor to you choosing options on a menu, and that's all. You know, I could tell that I'm gonna kind of vaguely remember some of the characters and the story.
C'est le minding, genre, moi mon minding de ce jeu-là, là, avant de voir tout le preview pis le footage, pis que je fasse comme ok, ça a l'air genre vraiment basic comme jeu, là. C'est justement que ça va être this grand fucking experience que chaque choix, chaque mouvement presque allait influencer le monde alentour de toi. Quoique, c'est quand même vrai parce que tes choix ont de l'impact dans le monde de Cyberpunk, mais pas au niveau que justement le hype suggérait.
Have any memories really of like, oh, that one thing I did in Night City that was cool. Night City's gonna fade away because there's nothing memorable about it really. It just looks cool in the background while you're doing other stuff.
Man, regarde, I'm just,
and that's not why I wanted more. I wanted more from this game. So, yes. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's a good game. It's just not great. It's not great. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. You could read this review on GamesBeat.com if you want more. I think that if you are someone who does just want those prescribed narrative story quests that CD Projekt Red is known for and did really well with Witcher 3, if you like that stuff, I think you're really going to like this game quite a bit. But it is not the great next thing that is going to push the medium forward. And not even really judging on that. It's not that memorable beyond some of the very good characters. Beyond that, it's just sort of there. Yeah.
On dirait qu'il réalise genre, ah fuck, I'm gonna get my ass torn apart by the internet. Ça m'en vient pour dire que Cyberpunk va avoir un Day One, ou c'est-tu Day One patch dans l'article de GameSpot? Va avoir un update de 43 gigs around launch. C'est pas un update Day One, though. Oui, mais Alexis, une patch de 43 gigs? Dude, c'est quand même, c'est pas rien, là. 43 gigs. CD Projekt Red highly anticipated Cyberpunk 2077 may be a bigger download than originally thought, as it's been revealed that the game has a 43GB update around launch, and it likely isn't the only update either. According to Games Radar Plus, YouTuber Dreamcast Guy, one of the many who has a copy of the game in their hands ahead of Cyberpunk 2077's December 10 launch, shared a screenshot on Twitter highlighting the update's download size. The screenshot shows a 43.5GB. Là, lui, il dit que c'était une Day One patch. Fait que c'est-tu la patch qu'on parlait tantôt, la Day Zero patch, I guess? Mais quand même, c'est fou, là. Un autre jeu que sort cette semaine, que son review embargo a été lifté. Peut-être un jeu, pas peut-être, mais grandement moins hype que Cyberpunk 2077. C'est Call of the Sea, disponible sur Game Pass, gratuit, ben pas gratuitement, mais disponible sur Game Pass si vous êtes abonné. À 78 de moyenne sur Metacritic, sur 10 reviews, fait que pas grand reviews à se baser. Jeuxvideo.com on donne un 65. When finished, Call of the Sea leaves a salty, unfinished aftertaste. Il aurait pu tellement faire un jeu de mots sur le fait que... En tout cas. J'ai le review d'IGN qui disent... through engaging puzzles and a captivating story, Call of the Sea provides an excellent poignant adventure.
All great puzzle games not only consist of lots of smaller
oui, merci Forrest avec la
but
Prime resub. What is good?
They take you to a mysterious place full of
Prime
intrigue and the
batterie, well,
unknown.
that's,
A place which by
that's
the end
rip.
of your time there, you've uncovered all of the secrets it held inside. The stunning island setting of Call of the Sea does exactly this, as you're led through its puzzle-laden areas, gradually revealing the answers to an engrossing story full to the brim with beauty and darkness. It's clear from the get-go of this 4 to 5 hour first-person adventure where its inspirations came
4
from.
to
The
5
shadow
hours.
of Lovecraft
I'm
hangs
interested.
heavy over the island, with echoes of otherworldly creatures and pearlescent the colour outer space tones littering the landscape at times. Never does it descend into pure horror though, and stays firmly put in the more dreamlike elements of the
Mais quand on a regardé les gameplays, il avait l'air, ça avait l'air plate.
Also present. In particular, the shape of water appears to have a big influence throughout. Romance, fantasy, and well, water are big themes here. It's fundamentally about the lengths we'll go to for the people we love. And like true love, Call of the Sea is reciprocal. The more you invest in its characters and story, the more gratification you'll ultimately receive when choosing between its equally effective and poignant endings. Call of the Sea is not without a sense of adventure though, and borrows heavily from the 19th century novels of Jules Verne and H.G. Wells as you travel to a mysterious location and unearth its history as well as the remnants of an ancient civilization. There's a genuine feeling of discovery as you follow in the tracks of your character's explorer husband Harry. You play as Nora, a woman suffering from an unexplained illness, the cure for which is the reason Harry ventured to the South Pacific in the first place. She's expertly voiced by Cissy Jones of Firewatch and The Walking Dead fame, who carries the story on her shoulders for almost flawless runtime, with occasional support from Marvel Spider-Man's Yuri Lowenthal as Harry. Similar to Firewatch, Call of the Sea has a personal story
Spider-Man is in the game as well.
Dose of mystery thrown in. It's very well written on the whole and concisely tells its story through internal dialogue, letters, and painted murals without ever becoming confusing or dull. It's in these internal thoughts, however, that some of the writing doesn't hold up. It occasionally feels unnatural, with the obvious stated on more than one occasion. It didn't attract too much from me enjoying the story as a whole, but did at times leave little to interpretation or genuine discovery, and what felt like it could have been an enticing open mystery sometimes became an expedition in exposition instead.
You
left a year ago to search for a cure for my affliction. Your letters kept me close to you, but suddenly they stopped coming. What happened, Opal? What did you find?
An adventure game is only as good as its puzzles, though. And in this regard, Call of the Sea excels. As much as its story and aesthetic influences are clear to see, its gameplay is firmly rooted in classics such as the Myst series. Each chapter tends to have one large puzzle to solve in order to move on to the next area, and it's surrounded by numerous smaller problems to solve in order to find that main solution. They start off fairly basic, but build in complexity as you move deeper into the heart of the island. Some conundrums share similar mechanics, whether that be translating symbols or pressing a series of disparate buttons in the correct order, but no two are identical. There's a sense of progression in difficulty that goes hand in hand with the story.
I kind of want to play it though.
A real sweet spot for me, and my head felt appropriately scratched. They were never so simple that I felt I wasn't being challenged, but also never obtuse to the level of me being stumped. This is much appreciated, as with a story-heavy game such as this, you never want your momentum to be slowed as you await the next plot developments. It's a hard thing to balance, but Call of the Sea achieves this throughout. It constantly brings in surprisingly
my
mechanics and
brain
ways
can
to move
only
around
take
its
so
world.
much
Each
at
new set of
once.
puzzles brings a new set of ideas to the table, whether on land or occasionally
c'est sûr,
underwater.
Alexis.
A favourite section of mine had me trying to bring an oversized dormant organ back to life.
Mais j'ai hâte de
and work
replonger
out
dans
how to play the
Immortals, là.
correct series of
Faire les
musical notes in
shrines,
order
là.
to proceed. There's always a
It's gonna be
satisfying
good.
payoff to these larger puzzles as well, in the form of significant narrative advancements or pure visual spectacle. Each of these areas will have you travelling back and forth between locations in order to do things in the right order. This can become a little laborious over time, as Nora isn't the fastest walker, and while you can move slightly quicker by running, it isn't enough
Tomb
of a
Raider?
speed boost to ease the pain.
Je l'avais,
What does make slowly strolling your way
sur
across the
Xbox
island and
One,
back
fait que je
more
pense que je l'ai
bearable
vendu.
is that there's plenty of stunning scenery to take in. Each biome houses its own delights, whether that be the tropical tones of a birdsong-filled clearing or the harsh crashes of waves set against lightning poetically cannoning off a shipwreck. No two areas feel the same, and indeed not all of them feel of our world, but they're all attention-grabbing in their own ways. The classic look of 1930s posters and postcards is infused into the art style and allows for colours to burst off of the screen. This paradisiacal setting allows for the more foreboding and unusual architectural and artistic elements of the island to stand out more than they would do in a less naturally tranquil place. In essence, it mirrors the themes and the story of Call of the Sea perfectly, an experience packed with beauty and wonder that hides a dark mystery bubbling beneath its surface.
Dans les jeux de même, t'es tout le temps tout seul. T'as genre
Developer Out
personne
of the
avec toi.
Blue's debut game is a gorgeous homage to the films and games that inspired it. Through engaging Myst-style puzzles and a captivating story, Call of the Sea
Shadow of the
triumphs
Tomb
in
Raider est
bringing its
excellent.
island alive, along with the characters that explored it. It delivers a short-lived but engrossing experience
Rise,
with
je l'ai
stunning
plus
art
aimé, mais
direction and an
comme
excellent voice cast.
c'est
with
un
the
far
biggest of its
second
minor
après Rise of the
annoyances
Tomb
being
Raider,
a
là.
slow movement speed.
En plus que t'as
If a
du
fun
DLC,
but
là.
emotionally affecting adventure is what you're searching for, then Call of the Sea most definitely answers that call.
Damn, 9 out of 10, Jesus.
For more Call of the Sea and everything else, stick with IGN.
Avant qu'on procède, il y a ça qui est paru sur Twitter tantôt for my persona, for my Japan fans out there. Persona 5 Strikers Announcement Trailer. Il me semble que ça avait été leaké ou reporté la semaine dernière. Mais ça vient d'être confirmé officiellement ce matin. Ça sort officiellement le 23 février 2021 sur Switch. Je pense qu'il est déjà disponible au Japon ce jeu-là. Tu sais, il y a tellement de Persona 5 là, je suis comme confused.
Hey everyone! You can give me all your desires. Watch out! Shadows incoming! Give it everything you've got, guys!
Showtime!
C'est genre de Dynasty Warriors.
Take this!
Yeah, exact. Devil May Cry plus.
Persona!
Non, c'est genre un spin-off game dans Persona 5.
I will consume all who oppose me, no matter who they are!
Mais je pense ça qu'il est déjà sorti au Japon ce jeu-là.
And all those desires you stole.
We're taking them all back. Do you realize how dangerous a position you're in right now?
Strike fast.
My turn! Good move, Joker!
Ben voyons. Blower un char là.
Unleash the chains that bind you and take back the people's hearts.
Checkez ça le visuel, comment c'est nice, man. Why? Pourquoi il y a autant de dialogues dans Persona? Je serais intéressé de check it out.
For real?
And there you have it. Attends, je veux juste confirmer. Je suis pas mal sûr qu'il est sorti in Japan, this game. Mais pourquoi il y a Persona 5 Golden, Persona 5 Royal, ST, Persona 5 Strikers, Chris? Why is it so confusing? Fait que c'est ça, ok. Donc, Persona 5 Strikers, c'est la version localized de Persona 5 Scramble qui est sortie in Japan au début de l'année, le 20 février. There we go. Bon, ok. Jesus Christ. Si on poursuit, breaking news ce matin, shocker to everyone. The Prince of Persia Sands of Time Remake a été repoussé au 18 mars 2021. Le jeu était censé sortir le 21 janvier 2021. Fait qu'un délai de 2 mois. Ok. Je pense que personne va être upset de ce délai-là. Déjà là que le jeu a eu des opinions plutôt, ou des impressions plutôt négatives quand il a été revealed. Comme quoi que le jeu avait l'air d'un jeu de GameCube. Ça avait pas l'air tant d'un remake. Surtout que le jeu... Le jeu original date de quand? De genre 2000? Looked like a bit of... 2003. Look a bit like Garbanzo. Fait que c'est ça. Puis là, ils ont sorti une sortie de presse. Fait que la traduction directe, c'est Greetings, Prince of Persia fans. During our Ubisoft 4 digital conference, we proudly announced Prince's return from Prince of Persia The Sands of Time Remake. We are excited to be able to put this game in your hands again. And as we retell the story of Prince and Farah in the amazing 11th century Persia. However, 2020 was a year like no other. Today, we would like to inform you that we need more time to complete the game. With that, the release date of Prince of Persia The Sands of Time Remake has been moved to March 18, 2021. And we believe this is the right decision to ensure we deliver a game you like. Thank you for your patience and continued support of the Prince of Persia. And we hope you remain safe and healthy during this holiday season. Developer team, like you see, developer team. Casey Hudson and Mark Darrah are officially leaving BioWare. Current projects like Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect Legendary Edition will continue development. Ça m'a fait rire ce headline-là. Comme si, oui, c'est comme deux gros noms chez BioWare, mais comme si, nos jeux ils sortent pas. That has never happened, pratiquement jamais. Fait que, damn, le créateur de fucking Mass Effect, my man, Casey Hudson, is leaving BioWare. What is happening? He has announced that Casey Hudson, the general manager of BioWare, and Mark Darrah, the executive producer on the upcoming Dragon Age, will be departing the company. All currently ongoing projects including Anthem Next, the next Dragon Age, and the Mass Effect. Voyons, hostie. Mass Effect Legendary Edition remasters among them will continue as planned despite the leadership shifts. Samantha Ryan will continue to oversee the studio while Christian Daly, who joined BioWare from Blizzard, will now be leading the Dragon Age project as executive producer, with Matthew Goldman remaining as creative director on the project, and the Mass Effect collection will continue to be led by Mike Gamble, as that team also remains hard at work on the future of that franchise. This marks Hudson's second departure from BioWare after he first left the studio in 2014 and announced a new position at Microsoft in 2015. Hudson rejoined BioWare in 2017, and then GM Aaron Flynn stepped down while the company searches for a new GM. Gary McKay, the senior director of development operations, will act as interim studio GM. Je savais même pas qu'il avait quitté et il était revenu après Casey Hudson. They will always be an important part of the studio's history. We appreciate their many contributions, and we look forward to seeing what they'll do. They'll each do next. Laura Miel, Chief Studio Officer EA, said in a statement announcing the duo's departure. Quel autre studio historiquement qui avait comme un genre standard vraiment élevé, puis là il a crash down over the years? Parce que BioWare, pour vrai, là, si on regarde la liste des derniers jeux. Ouais, Blizzard, effectivement. Mais si on regarde la liste des jeux de BioWare dernièrement, là, ça c'est comme le studio qui a eu le plus de. Dernièrement, là. Anthem, GOTY 2019, Alex Bros. Mass Effect Andromeda qui a pas été bien reçu à sa sortie. Shadow Realms, what the fuck is that? Ah, ça a été cancelled. Well, there you go. Je viens de répondre à ma propre question. Dragon Age Inquisition, ça c'était in the conversation pour Game of the Year en 2014. Command & Conquer, Warhammer, Mass Effect 3, great game. Star Wars The Old Republic, great game. Dragon Age Legends, je sais quoi, Dragon Age 2, Mass Effect 2, great game. Dragon Age Origins, Mass Effect Galaxy, I guess c'est iOS. Sonic Chronicles, wait. Mass Effect Jade Empire, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Neverwinter Nights. Ça c'est old school as fuck, le Baldur's Gate. I guess leurs deux derniers projets étaient plutôt flins. Parle d'un jeu qui a pas l'air ambitieux du tout mais qui a l'air de fun. Hitman 3. On dirait que j'ai vu 56 fois ce building-là pour les trailers de Hitman. Et cette scène-là également aussi.
As you take on the role of Agent 47, his deadly abilities, tools, and instincts are at your fingertips. You get to travel the world and kill interesting people. And with complete freedom of approach, making the how, the when, and the where.
Jesus Christ.
To you.
Tu l'as cliqué.
47 can get in anywhere. Sometimes with the aid of a stolen access card, a gleaned key code, hacking the lock with his new camera, or just using good old-fashioned brute force.
Je suis hype par aucun jeu présentement.
Is an invitation. You can blend in anywhere. Disguises offer you access to corresponding areas, but be careful around enforcers. They will call your disguise if they get a good look. 47's arsenal has never been sharper, from the classics to the state-of-the-art.
Sauf Tetris.
Almost everything is a weapon.
Hein? C'est quoi qui a garoché? Wait.
Of course, almost every.
C'est quoi? C'est un pack de cigarettes? What the hell is this? Êtes-vous capable de déterminer what the hell that is? On dirait soit, j'hésite entre soit une brique, un shit de cocaine, un paquet de cigarettes ou genre une boîte de farine. C'est un livre. Ouais.
Everything is a weapon in 47's hands. But a creative assassin need never touch a weapon. Surrounding you is a living, breathing world of opportunity. Action, reaction, cause and effect.
Tropical Freeze RTX. Fuck yeah.
From unfortunate accidents to careful exploitation of a bad habit. You can trick someone else into doing the dirty work, or you could simply book a meeting with your target.
Huh.
But it's no walk in the park. You must adapt as circumstances change. Your targets are some of the best protected people in the world. Some of them so elusive, they are only exposed for a limited time. Unlock new tools and weapons in our mastery tracks. Refine your approach as you advance across 20
C'est janvier,
with new starting
Alex.
locations, new ICA gear,
Mais je suis intéressé de le check out, ça, définitivement.
stashed weapons.
Oui, j'ai vu ces trailers-là, mais oh.
Based on your distinct playstyle and skill level. And keep challenging yourself with a slew of inventive escalations and complications.
C'est pas censé, en tout cas, je pense pas.
Assassination.
Parce que ça m'avait vraiment turn off là, de Hitman 2. Genre que comme tu sortais des missions comme si c'était une saison de télésérie. J'ai comme nah, just give me the game please. Damn, look at this skin. What the fuck? Genre Diable in gold. Let's write Chinese Agent 47. Nice. Ben moi j'ai entendu que tout ça avant de l'acheter en spécial. Mais c'est ça. J'aime pas ce business model là de comme on va sortir du content progressivement. Pour un jeu, ça passe pas bien selon moi. In fuck Nintendo news. Maintenant c'est là que je peux rant un petit peu. En fin de semaine, pis pour ceux qui ont pas suivi tout le fuck Nintendo scandal pis le free melee pis tout ça, je vais faire un TLDR pour ceux qui ont pas suivi ça. Il y a une couple de semaines, Nintendo a shut down un tournoi online de Smash Melee qui utilisait un mod du jeu pour permettre au jeu d'être joué en ligne. Parce que comme vous le savez, Super Smash Bros. Melee est un jeu qui date de 2001 sur la GameCube. Une plateforme qui n'a aucune capacité d'online whatsoever. Donc la communauté compétitive, vu que Smash Melee c'est un des plus gros e-sports en termes de fighting game, un dude a modé le jeu via emulation pour que les gens puissent jouer en ligne avec un affaire qui s'appelle rollback, qui fait en sorte que c'est quasiment comme si tu jouais en in-person, vu que la faible quantité de lag. Par exemple, Nintendo était pas content de ça, fait qu'ils ont pull le plug d'un événement qui orchestrait tout ça. Puis ça a créé tout le mouvement Free Melee, Save Smash. Mais là, Nintendo, je sais vraiment pas c'est qui prend les décisions exécutives là. Les higher-ups là. You gotta do something. Mais en fin de semaine, il y avait un tournoi de Splatoon. Puis 30% des équipes de ce tournoi-là de Splatoon avaient des noms qui montraient leur support à la communauté de Smash. Avec des noms genre Free Melee 221, Free Melee 227, Element Free Melee, Meleetation, et Nintendo est allé de l'avant. Pas les tournament organizers, Nintendo themselves sont allés de l'avant. Ils ont cancellé le fucking livestream. Est-ce que ça a aucun sens? À cause d'un nom. Juste pour montrer leur solidarité envers la communauté de Smash. Nintendo est très Nintendo, au lieu de hire dude pour fixer le ils cancel everything. Ça n'a aucun sens. Why the fuck would you do that? Puis, encore plus un gros fuck you suite à ça, c'est que la communauté de Splatoon s'est rassemblée. Ils ont quand même fait leur tournoi avec toutes les équipes qui sont listées juste là. Puis, ils ont encouragé la communauté à donner de l'argent pour le prize pool. Le prize pool était plus élevé que ce que Nintendo offrait. Mais ça n'a pas de sens parce que je vous ramène way back, ok, quand la Switch a été annoncée, ok. Advertise fucking esports. What game is that? C'est pas Smash, mais Splatoon. I have no words at this point. Où est la congruence dans votre message, Nintendo? It makes no sense. Puis encore plus, là, il y a un report, je sais pas si c'est véridique ou non, mais ça fait plusieurs fois que je le vois. Mais Erika, qui était un gros membre de la communauté de Smash puis de Nintendo, a malheureusement décédé l'année dernière. J'en ai parlé sur le stream quand ça s'était arrivé. Puis lui, c'était en fait, il était très vocal par rapport aux Joy-Cons quand il jouait. Fait que lui, il a comme bâti son mouvement des Joy-Con Boys. Ça a fait en sorte qu'il y a des gens qui sont allés de l'avant puis ont fait des Joy-Cons à l'effigie de... Je sais pas s'il y a une image dans l'article de Polygon. Mais on fait des Joy-Cons à l'effigie de justement tout ce qui est Joy-Con Boys. Puis Nintendo shut that down également. Puis le pire, c'est que c'était tout pour de la charité. No profit to be made. Asti. Asti que j'adore le drama. Si j'écoutais pas Victim, je serais pas au courant de tout ce drama. Yeah, ça c'est du Nintendo specific drama. And God knows, j'adore Nintendo, mais des affaires de même font en sorte que je n'achète pas Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity à sa sortie. C'est tellement pas vrai. C'est pas, surtout pas parce que j'ai acheté une PlayStation 5 ou une Xbox Series X que j'ai pas acheté Age of Calamity, but hey. Warner Brothers has announced that it will send its entire 2021 slate to both theaters and HBO Max. Fait qu'on va avoir Matrix 4 l'année prochaine. On va avoir Dune. On va avoir The Suicide Squad. Mais là, j'ai pas encore lu l'article, mais je l'ai regardé pour vendredi, quand ça avait été annoncé. Ça vient ici au Canada également. HBO Max. Nouvelle télé, puis plein de films nice, yep. When Warner Brothers announced that Wonder Woman 1984 would land on streaming service HBO Max on Christmas, the same time it debuts in theaters, many expected to be an isolated experiment in response to the unprecedented pandemic. Instead, the studio will deploy a similar release strategy for the next 12 months. In a surprising break from industry standards, Warner Brothers' entire 2021 slate, a list of 17 films that include The Matrix 4, Dune, In the Heights, The Sopranos, The Many Saints of Newark, and The Suicide Squad, will debut both on HBO Max and in theaters on their respective release dates. The shocking move to release movies day and date underscores the crisis facing movie theaters and the rising importance of streaming services in the wake of a global health crisis that's decimated the film exhibition community. Holy shit. Fait que faut falloir s'abonner à Crave. C'est laid, Crave. Fait que yeah, est-ce que vous pensez que ça va être la death of movie theaters à partir de maintenant? Parce que là, t'auras juste besoin d'un abonnement. Ça parle pas d'abonnement plus payé pour le film. À moins que ça te dit plus loin. Ok, will be available to HBO Max subscribers for 31 days. Fait qu'il faut quand même que tu te grouilles. Tu peux pas juste comme acheter ou t'abonner une journée puis tout écouter les films que tu vas regarder en one shot. Entre le cinéma et le regarder dans mon salon, c'est quand même pas la même chose. Non, c'est ça. Tu sais, quand tu vas au cinéma, c'est plus une expérience. Tu sais, t'as le big screen, t'as le siège, t'as le popcorn. Le popcorn, là, si vous voulez qu'on débatte là-dessus, le popcorn à la maison est vastly différent que le popcorn au cinéma. Je sais pas qu'est-ce qu'ils mettent dans leur calice de popcorn, mais ça goûte différent. J'ai comme la misère à penser que... Surtout en ce moment, hein, j'ai de la misère à penser que les films vont continuer, vont juste strictement être disponibles au cinéma, you know? I'm really excited for this. Encore une fois, deadline. Oscar Isaac to star as Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid live action movie. Donc un nouveau film pas inspiré, mais créé à partir d'une licence de jeu vidéo. Oscar Isaac, là c'est sûr qu'il n'y a pas de beard, mais si on prend Oscar Isaac dans Dune, avec du grizzled beard là, peut-être pas aussi intense, mais barbu, kind of see it. Fait que Metal Gear Solid movie will be directed by Jordan Vogt Roberts, qui a fait Kong Skull Island, and written by Derek Connolly, qui a fait Kong Skull Island, Detective Pikachu, Jurassic World. No production date yet. C'était ici qu'on va se quitter pour aujourd'hui, mesdames et messieurs. Merci d'avoir été là en grand nombre, as usual. I'll try to make up for the lost time cette semaine avec le content, comme vous savez, comme à l'habitude. VIICTIIMINUTE disponible en rediffusion sur Spotify. Merci Brain de fonctionner. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts ainsi que YouTube. 24 heures après l'enregistrement en live sur twitch.tv/victim. Faut que je me remette là dans le beat des TikTok. Ça fait un bout que je n'ai pas publié. Probably gonna shoot a couple today. Je vais définitivement faire un review roundup pour Cyberpunk. Puis peut-être faire un pour les sorties de la semaine. Sinon, quoi d'autre aujourd'hui est annoncé? Je me rappelle même plus de quoi qu'on a parlé aujourd'hui. On va être de retour, hopefully demain, si mon corps me le permet. À 9h pour plus d'actualités dans le monde du jeu vidéo. Je vous rappelle que cette semaine, c'est une grosse semaine. Game Awards Week. Puis là, demain, on va être la veille des Game Awards. Fait que peut-être des leaks ici et là concernant les announcements qui vont être faits au cours de l'événement. Fait que be on the lookout. As usual, je vais être your one-stop shop pour tout ce qui est actualité dans le monde du jeu vidéo et divertissement. Puis pour ce qui est du coverage du Game Awards, ça va être vendredi matin de notre côté. Alex va l'écouter en stream de son côté. Je sais que les névralgiques également vont faire un stream où ils écoutent les Game Awards. Fait que plusieurs autres content creators qui vont offrir de la couverture sur les Game Awards. As usual, encore une fois, je le plug une dernière fois. Si vous n'avez pas voté pour les Major Key Awards, please do. Big project pour la fin décembre, où est-ce qu'on va recapper all the fucking crazy year that we had. Puis mettre un beau ruban sur le tout. Puis également, si vous voulez suivre mes réseaux sociaux pour voir ma story avec Last of Us filter ou whatever, c'est tout là. Même le Discord, just do it, pas le choix. GM il est plus là, faut que je fasse sa job. Il faut que j'entre les commandes tout seul. Fait que Discord également si vous voulez hop into the Discord. Il y aura pas de questions de la semaine demain parce que j'étais malade, fait que je n'ai pas fait. Fait que demain ça va être une VIICTIIMINUTE bien normale. Fait que c'est ça qui est ça, man. Sur ce, je vous souhaite une excellente fin de journée. On se voit demain matin pour votre dose usuelle de stream, actually. Puis yeah. Je m'en vais figure out what the hell I'm eating. Ah fuck, j'ai oublié de raid. Attendez, restez. On va aller dire what up à Epic Joystick qui joue à the greatest Zelda game qui est pas Zelda. Immortals Phoenix Rising. Puis si vous avez pas check out mon review pour Immortals Phoenix Rising, vous avez soit le choix d'aller dans les collections Twitch ou vous pouvez aller sur ma chaîne YouTube pour check that out. Bon! Je pense que ça fait le tour, là. Je pars en paix, mes amis. Fait que c'est ça, fait que un skin à venir dans Fortnite, kind of, c'est un nice crossover. J'aurais jamais pensé dans l'histoire de ma vie de voir Kratos tirer du gun, but I guess that's gonna be happening in Fortnite soon. Puis également, mais dans le fond, la raison pourquoi